A very good morning to you guys. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Brighton Ncube. This is the Civic Forum, a show that seeks to look at different people doing amazing work across Bulawayo, across Zimbabwe, in terms of developing our community. Some are in different sectors, some are in soccer, some are in entertainment. But on the show, we're joined by Sibonokuhle Moyo. She's been doing amazing work in terms of helping the community of Bulawayo, in terms of assisting. She runs a organization called Sibonokuhle Helping Hands. She's been assisting PWDs in Bulawayo, starting from COVID-19 area during lockdown, helping people across Bulawayo. So today, get to know a story and what inspired you to venture into this. Good morning to you, Sibonokuhle. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. During lockdown, you came up with the idea to say, I want to help Sibonokuhle Helping Hands community. To talk to us more about that. What inspired that during lockdown?
All right. During lockdown, a lot of things were shut down. Access to a lot of resources, groceries, basics were closed down. So a former boss of mine reached out to me and said, okay, I have funds, I have a COVID package that I would like to dispose, but I don't want to dispose it in the Netherlands because he was based in the Netherlands at that time. Would you mind to look for people that you feel that they deserve this package? And then me being new, I was new in Bulawayo, just recently relocated in 2019 from SA. I didn't know much about what is happening in my community, what is happening on the ground. So I decided to reach out to a few people that I knew that were on the ground. And then we started to look for these people that we could take this package and donate to them. So that's when we started to get this response, an amazing response from parents with kids with disabilities, who are disadvantaged, HIV orphans, and affected children. They came forward and said, okay, we have these kids at home. So I had to go to the houses to vet house by house, because at that time it was lockdown and there wasn't much you could do, like grouping people together. So I went to these houses individually to look for these kids, talk to the parents, get to understand what challenges they are facing in raising children who are different from others. That's when I realized there is a vast need for people to go into our communities and see how difficult times some people are facing. So that's where the initiative started. So our first rollout was in 2020, end of December. That's when we came together and decided, okay, since they'll be going to school after the long break of COVID, we might help them with backpacks and raincoats. That's where we started.
Yeah, but also looking at those families, going to each family, going there to see them. What some of the specific needs that they're saying to you? This is what we want. It's working with PWDs.
Most of these children, they live with parents, with mothers, sorry. So they are single mothers, they are grandmothers, which means the most important need that they have is support, social support. People with disabilities and challenges and all that, people usually discard them. They try to push them aside. They don't give them the same treatment that they give everyone else. So the most important thing that I learned is the needs that they have. Clothing, food, school fees. They need to be helped with school fees. And the general, some they need to go to schools where they're going to be taught how to properly mold their speech, how to properly live with their disabilities, and that incorporation and integration into the community. Most disabled kids, they don't leave the house. They always stay at home. There's one special case of a lady who stays with a granddaughter in Ncube. She has never left the house, and she's 13. She's disabled. She's got soft bones. So she's wheelchair bound, but she has to go to work. She has to fend for her. So sometimes she leaves her in the house and lock the house, which is very bad if you look at it. There's one parent who has two kids, boys. They are both disabled. So she has to carry them all the time from one place to another, bath them, feed them, do everything. There's another parent with a daughter who has speech impairment. So they can't even communicate. At school, the kid learning how to use sign language and all that. But when she comes at home, she can't communicate with the mother. And it's a girl child. So you can imagine the challenges that you have as a mother. You have a daughter, but you cannot talk to. So the scope of challenges was so wide that I was shocked. I was shocked because I thought, okay, we are all suffering, but there are people who have it very hard than others.
Maybe paint a picture to us as you're going through these households, right? seeing people with disabilities and the different needs that they want. What triggered you to, yes, I need to do this, I need to push this, Sibonokuhle Helping Hands, whereby I need to collect wheelchairs, collect blankets, collect shoes for them. What triggered, what touched you as an individual to say, I need to do this thing?
All right. What touched me mostly is the living conditions that they live in. They live in rented houses, they live in dilapidated houses where you can see that the structures are not comfortable for those kind of kids. They live with grandparents. You know, elderly people, they also need help. And the child is also disabled. So when a child is disabled, they need to be in a comfortable environment. They need to be with someone who's knowledgeable, someone who is going to give them the support, which is not physical, which is emotional support, social support, integrate them into the community, make the kids feel like they're every other kid. So this other special case that I came across, there's a mother, she's got twins. One of them is okay. The other one is a bit slower. I think he's got autism. So she's struggling with trying to bridge the gap between the two, because if kids are twins, they always feel like we are the same. But the other one is struggling. Even the growth rate is a bit slower. And the kid does not understand, why am I treated differently from this one? We are the same age, we are twins. But the mother is trying not to show him that he's different from that other kid. So there are a lot of challenges that these caregivers are facing. I think the caregivers are the ones that are struggling the most, because kids are generally, they can adapt to any environment and until you get to a point where you try to treat them different. If you don't call them names, if you don't call them names or try to discriminate them, they feel okay. It only starts when you start saying, oh, you can't walk, you can't do this, you can't do this. But the caregivers are the ones that are struggling. Yeah. Most is mothers, most is grandmothers, and 90% of the time they have to fend for the same kids. So now they're struggling. Who am I going to leave my child with while I go fend for the child? That's where the challenges come. So I spoke to them a while back and said, okay, what help can we get you in terms of uplifting you from the situation that you're in? Most of them were saying, if you could get someone who would donate some funds or some capital injection or some capital cushion so that we start our own businesses where we'll be able to take care of our own kids. Yeah. So they're not asking for money. They understand the donations come, it's a good thing, but donations come and go. Yeah. But if we empower the caregivers, then it simply means that the caregivers, as long as they live, they can take care of the children. But now they have to stay at home, 90% of them, they don't have any skills, they don't have any businesses, they don't have any income. So they are forced to leave disabled kids unattended and go and fend for them.
You spoke about a mother with a child, a girl child, who's King George, right?
Yes.
The child learns at King George sign language, right? But when they come back home, the mother doesn't know sign language.
Yes.
So how do they communicate, the mother and the child? Mother doesn't know sign language, but the kid's now learning at King George, they're learning sign language. How do they communicate? What's the story with they coming from the mother?
The mother told me we don't communicate. I can point out a few things, but there is no general communication, like where you would say, I'm sitting down with my daughter, we're talking, or I'm telling her this, or I'm apprehending her. Or so the daughter has to learn from the mother's facial looks that now she's angry, now she's happy, or she's pointing at that, or she's pointing at that, which is very sad because it's a girl child. They'll get to a point where they grow. There are things you need to teach them. There are situations in the society, like there is bullying, there is rape, there is stuff. How are they going to communicate to you if they face that challenge? So she was saying the best thing that anyone would do for me is to help me go to a sign language school so that I'll be able to communicate with my daughter. So even the bond between the mother and the daughter is a bit, because the daughter is okay when she's at school, plays with friends and all that. The neighbors and the parent, they can't communicate with the daughter. So she's there sitting. That's where she feels the gap. At school, she feels, oh, we're all the same. We can speak in sign language and talk. And when she gets home, the daughter starts to feel the gap that there's something different this side. So it's one of the challenges that when people live with children that have disabilities, they face. It affects the child, it affects the caregiver. So it's something that you should bring out to the community. Unfortunately, people will say, oh, you're doing charity work, leave the cameras at home. No, we're not leaving the cameras at home. Because when we take the cameras with us, we are saying we are opening more doors for the disabled kids to get help. We're not doing it for glory or to be seen or to get likes and following and all of that. It's me saying I can give them a loaf of bread, But someone out there can afford to buy her a wheelchair. So if I put her out there with the consent of the parent, of course, then maybe someone can come forward and say, you did this much, let me carry on. They might get sponsorship for their school, they might get medical attention, they might get hand skills sponsored, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So people will be like, no, if you're going out there to help, just leave the cameras at home. The cameras are not for glory. If you're doing charity work, you understand that charity work teaches you to appreciate what you have. When you're at home and say, this bread doesn't even have butter, what am I going to even put in this bread? Someone doesn't have half of that bread. Someone doesn't have a blanket. Someone lives in a one-room house with 3 kids that are all disabled. Someone doesn't have a source of income. So it teaches you to appreciate, it teaches you to be patient. To say that someone is living with children that don't even understand themselves, to understand her. How is she even coping, communicating with them on a daily basis? It teaches you to love. It teaches you to give even if you don't have.
Yeah. So the urgent need for the mother now is to learn sign language, right?
Yes.
So the urgent need, right?
Yes.
So guys, if you're watching the show this morning, we're live on Facebook and we're going to be live on YouTube later on in the day. So if we can teach sign language, please reach out to Sibonokuhle Helping Hands there to help the mother there who's a child, who cannot speak, right? But they're learning sign language at school, but mama cannot speak the sign language. So yeah, if you're out there, please do come through and help Sibonokuhle there. But now, Sibonokuhle, what are the key issues that you're saying they want to be addressed when it comes to PWDs in Bulawayo, is working with them there? What are the key needs for now that are needed? I know we've been giving them donations since COVID-19, but you said earlier on, we can't keep on doing that issue of funds again. What are the key needs before we go to how we can get funds now?
All right, just to take you back, when we started, we gave out backpacks and raincoats. That was 2021. Those backpacks are probably gone, forgotten. They are torn, they've been thrown around and stuff. Then we gave out blankets. Then we gave out soccer kits and soccer balls. And then we donated a variety of clothes for them. I have decided that I'm going to change the strategy a bit, because giving people disposable gifts sometimes doesn't go a long way, especially for children. Children, their memories are so short. If you give them something at 5 years, at 10, 15 years, they've probably forgotten that you once bought them a backpack. So now I want to change the whole idea into giving them the skills that will stay with them for life. So in this case, let's teach them the skills that even when the mother is late tomorrow, they'll be able to do something. Let's teach them building. Let's teach them welding. Let's teach them painting, beading, baking, agriculture. That's where the money is. As much as we value education and everything, currently it has proven that education is working for some people, but a lot of people are doing their own hustles. They are doing their own things, which are keeping them alive with their families. So if we teach the children the hand skills, it gives them an upper hand in life to say, okay, I don't have a job, I passed A-level, I've got 15 points, I'm not going to university, but for now, let me be doing my baking and selling my bakings. It's easier to approach someone and say, I'm very good at baking, can you buy me ingredients so that I start my business? But if you have no skill, you have nothing, it's hard for people to help you. So I want to try to diversify, to move away from giving them disposable gifts and give them the gifts that I call the gifts for life, something that they can have for the rest of their lives. And they can also help their own caregivers with that gift. If you can bake at home and sell for $10, that $10 goes a long way in helping everyone in your house. Help you buy your sanitary stuff for the girls. They have stuff that they need that they cannot be asking all the time. Or they can see that their caregivers are struggling to buy them. Sanitary pads, cosmetics, stuff like that. Eventually, they will live a normal life like every other child, because they can afford to buy their own small things. There's nothing as satisfying as knowing that I worked for this money, I'm going to buy these things for myself. So those are the skills that I'm looking for, people that want to donate their skills, their time, to say, okay, I've got a workshop, I do mechanics. Can they come, or 1-2 boys come and learn how to fix a car? I have a baking school. Do Do you have kids that need baking? Yes. Okay, can they come learn how to bake a cake and some pastries and stuff and stuff? Those skills will stay with them for life.
Yeah. Speaking of education, as you are going through these homes, you're seeing PWDs, kids with disabilities, right? Are they learning? Are they in school? So you said earlier on, sometimes the parents, they close the door, leave them at home. Are they learning? Are they enrolled in any school?
Some of them, they go to school, but they have the challenges of going to normal schools where there are no specialized classes for disabled schools. So eventually it becomes useless because you're in a class where everyone else is normal. Not that I'm saying they are not normal, but everyone else is physically and mentally upright. And you are a slow learner. The teacher just teaches and moves on. And you're the only one. There is no special schools that they afford to go to. I know there is King George. Some, I think there are about 2 or 3 that go to King George, but they've got sponsorship. The rest, they go to normal schools. And most parents are saying they are struggling, they are slower. The teachers are not that patient with them. One, the one that I told you, they live at home and stuff, she doesn't go to school. She doesn't talk, she doesn't communicate, she's got soft bones, she's wheelchair bound, she's a girl, she's 15. So she stays at home.
Yeah.
While the other 2 kids, the siblings, they go to school. And the granny has to remain with her. If the granny needs to go somewhere, they have to leave her in the house and lock the house, which is very dangerous, which is very sad.
Yeah.
So most of them, they go to school, but they don't go to the schools that they deserve to go to. Because the parents cannot afford to take them to special schools or have special teachers that say, after school, I'm going to take him or her at the pace that he or she understands.
Yeah. You know, when I was in Pomola at the time, I think a few weeks ago, this water in Daba, right? So there was a lady in a wheelchair. So she listened to everyone speaking about the issue of water. Bowsers coming through to serve and give them water. She asked for the mic and said to me, you know, people are crying about water from Bowsers and so on. You use 2 buckets of water perhaps, right, as a normal person.
Yeah.
But for me, I use double what you're using there. I need 4 buckets. When the Bowser comes to us, people rush to the front. They neglect people with wheelchairs. Speak to us around the issue of water crisis in Bulawayo, how this has affected people with disabilities in Bulawayo. As you go through their homes, what do you see in terms of water, the need of water?
That's actually a very good example that you just gave. So when the water comes, that's when you see that the community is not so conscious about people with disabilities. They don't really care much. But I would say we're not advocating enough. We're not bringing these people out to be seen that there's these people and they need help. In a normal setup, those people shouldn't be in the queues with other people trying to get water. Because someone can trip the wheelchair, it falls over, they get, maybe an accident happens, and then when they get hurt, it might even cost more for them to get medical attention. In a natural setup, the community leaders, be it the resident representative or the councillor, should make an initiative whereby water is delivered for these people in the comfort of their homes. Most people who are wheelchair bound, especially kids, they have very weak immune systems. So which means when they come into a group where there are a lot of people, they might catch sicknesses, they might catch this and that. And for them to get back on track, it takes a bit of time. So in a natural setup, water supplies or any other community supplies should be brought for disabled people in the comfort of their homes. They should be given. So in the community, people are not that conscious about that. They don't really specialize to say, okay, my neighbor there doesn't have anyone to fetch water for her. She's wheelchair bound. She probably needs to bath the child. She probably needs to do this and that. Most people that are wheelchair bound, usually they have immune system issues, some of them. So which means they're on Pampers, like the one I told you. She's 13, she's still on Pampers. So when we went to do a donation, when we're doing the backpacks, the grandmother said, this won't help her in any way. You'd rather take this backpack and go and give it to someone who deserves it. Her special need is Pampers. So we had to go again and get her Pampers. So you see, sometimes you don't know the exact need of a person until you go and talk to them. So when it comes to communities should give priority to people that live with disabilities, people, caregivers that are taking care of kids that are disadvantaged, that are orphaned. We should have that spirit of Ubuntu in us to say, okay, the water is here. Can they get the water first? Then we can do our thing. So we need to talk more about these issues. We need to bring them out. We need to show people what we have in our communities. We need to get people to talk, to be sympathetic, to be understanding, and to also be able to say, we as the community, we want to help so and so.
Yeah, but how's the response from the community, from people from Bulawayo, from the diaspora? How's been the response in terms of helping Sibonokuhle Helping Hands?
The response has been good. Honestly, the responses have been good. Like I said, when I initially started, I had a sponsor. But soon after the COVID, they were like, the package ends here. We've been helping. It was a COVID package. Now the companies are back to work and the packages are out. But I had to continue with that because I've got kids who I built relations with. There are kids that will call me and say, Auntie, how far? Auntie, what do you have for us? Auntie, can you help me with this? So I realized that this is a lifetime commitment. This is a lifetime relationship. Kids don't know anything. So they'll call me and ask me, don't you have new clothes? Those ones that you gave me, they don't fit anymore. So I have to keep this going. And the response has been good, especially from a lot of people from the Joyful community. I'm very thankful to Joyful and the Joyful community. When they do their initiative in South Africa, he tries to encourage people back at home to do the same. So I've been contacted, I've got clothes, I've got this, I want to donate, I want to come and help, I want to donate my time. So we've tried to balance it. When they do it in a foreign land, we do it for our own people. So the response has been good, mostly from the diasporans. Local people, it's still low. I don't know if we're not bringing the issues out enough, or we already have enough challenges as humans, so we feel like we're sympathetic with it, but we don't probably have enough to give. But the diasporans, they've been coming through. Some people in Bulawayo have been coming through, but the response on the ground is a bit low. And I think it's because the information is not out there. When we're not showing people what is there in the houses, what people are facing, what caregivers are facing, what a parent is going through on a daily basis, they won't know. So we can't really blame them that much. We need to keep talking about these issues, bringing these kids out, see them, here they are, do this for them, do that for them, eventually to get to people that in our communities, we've got so much people that need help.
So what's the response like from the parents when you meet the grandmother telling you the story, this is what my grandchild is going through, the mother telling you this is what my child is going through, and you're giving back to them? What's the response like from them in terms of after receiving those pampers? What's the response from them?
The interesting thing is when I started doing the charity work, remember I told you I put out a word that I need people like this. So when I went to these houses, the first thing that they told me is that this is the first time someone has come forward to help our kids. We are always asked, Balisana Bantwana, bring your names forward, bring your ideas forward, the kids will get this, and we get nothing out of it. They were so excited. They couldn't believe it, that it's happening. They even mentioned, this is the first time we've registered these kids under so many adverts and everything that we see, we just put them in. But this is like the first time that we've seen this come through. So I've created relations with these grannies and mothers and everything. Even outside the spectrum of working and donating and stuff, we still talk, we still convey. They still support my other hustles that I do. I still go to their businesses and help them where I can. We still talk, they still come to my house, I still go to their houses. So I'm grateful for that because it has become like a relationship. It's a bigger family that I have. So they were very excited, they were very thankful. But as you know, when you visit for the first time, you only see the challenges that you see. But there's more. So the more you talk to them, the more you realize this grandmother needs help. Besides giving this disabled child attention, the other two kids are suffering because all the attention now is going to that one person. Those kids, they need that help, that social support, someone who can come and talk to them, someone who can come and take them out, go to the soccer games, do this and that, because the granny will obviously be focused on the child that needs the more help. But what about the other kids?
So how can you change the narrative from the community, from society? You know, what if you have a disabled child in Lin, the people like feel like they're outcasts, kind of. They leave them in Lin. And how do we change the narrative from the community and our minds to say, these are part of us, these are like us? How do you change that narrative and that notion within our society? All
right. So in 2021, I wanted to do a sports tournament for them. So we booked the venue, we bought the soccer balls, kids, everything. Unfortunately, I think 4 days before the tournament, COVID restriction was put down again. Those 2 weeks intervals that we were getting, they told us, the cases are out of order. So from this day up to this day, we are now going on lockdown. So we couldn't do the tournament. The purpose of that tournament, I wanted to bring these kids out of the house and bring them to the community for people to see them. If you take note of it, people don't take disabled kids out. They leave them at home. They leave them out of events. They leave them out of any gathering. They leave them whenever they go anywhere. They are actually forced sometimes not to go anywhere because I have a child who's disabled. So the tournament was, I want to take all these kids out of the house and bring them to the community because we had looked for a community venue. We booked it and stuff. So I wanted to invite even the community to say, come and see the people that live in your community that you're not even aware of that need your help. But they are not getting any help because probably you don't even know that there's a disabled child in this house because the child never gets out. Or it's only 1, 2, 3 neighbors that know and everyone else doesn't know. These kids need to come out. They need to be seen. They need to integrate into a community. Besides disability, they still have a life and a childhood that needs to be normal. So I always encourage also the parents, try and bring the kids out. There was a time when I was working at True Elegance. If you know True Elegance, the Bulawayo branch, we did what we called Christmas in October. So I made it a point that I invite my kids to come with the parents for that Christmas party because I wanted them to get out of the house and be seen in the community, just like other normal kids. They came, they had fun. And one grandmother is like, you know, these kids, they never go anywhere. Because if I have to take these two, what about this one? If this one was disabled, if I take it out, what about these ones? And I cannot take all 3 of them with me at the same time. I don't have a car, I don't have means to move around, I cannot take it into a taxi. So eventually it gets to a point where even the kids that are not disabled, they get affected because they have a sibling who cannot freely move on their own.
Yeah. Guys, if you're just joining us, it's a live broadcast on Facebook. This is Asake Online Civic Forum. I'm talking to Sibonokuhle Moyo, coming from Sibonokuhle Helping Hands. She's been helping communities in Bulawayo, children with disabilities, helping them with wheelchairs, blankets, food, and pampers, and many things that she's been helping them with. If you have questions or contributions, please do request to send your feedback. We're going to read that question to Sibonokuhle this morning. And also, if you can help there, please do reach out to our DMs. Are open. The DM is open as well. Sibonokuhle Moyo on Facebook as well. Now, Sibonokuhle, you made a call during COVID lockdowns, right? Say, I want to help kids with disabilities, right? Like, how was the turnout in terms of the numbers, the people that are coming to you say, help us? How was the call? How was the reaction when you made that call?
When I made that call, I had a wide response. People were coming from all over the place, sending in the names. But then I got to a point where I realized that people were some of them were just sending out requests because they heard that there's going to be something to be given. So my vetting is what determined who stays and who doesn't stay. So some people were just sending out names. No, I think my daughter needs help, but they have parents, they have a mother, they have a father who are able to work. So I gave priority to disabled kids, to disadvantaged kids, to grannies that are taking care of orphans, that like HIV victims. Those are the people that I gave priority to. So the response was big, was very big. But then we had to scale it down to people that we felt they really, really needed help. That's how it was.
Also, someone who programs with PWDs, right? You're traveling around the city of Bulawayo. In terms of our buildings, I know people have been complaining about buildings. I spoke to Tsepang Nare this time when I was interviewing him. He complained a lot about our buildings in Bulawayo to say, I'm friendly at all to PWDs. I can't go to a restaurant because there are steps, there's no ramp and so on. Speak to us more about the buildings in Bulawayo, in particular, looking at accessibility of these buildings.
What I can clearly say is that when they were building, they never had the disabled in the plan. They never figured that out. And it's sad because even the buildings that were built after, or the buildings that were remodified and redesigned after, there's nothing that seems to say we'll do wider ramps for people in wheelchairs, we're going to do a smaller steps for people that are using crutches and on all of that. So we're still going on with that mentality that disabled people must stay at home. They must not come to the city. We're not proactive about it. We're not changing towards it. And personally, I feel that it's less education. It should be put out there in people's faces. Throw it until it gets into people. Even if they may say, it's too much now, it's too much now. people will tell you, okay, disabled people, you only find them at Gyro's. But how many people bother to say, okay, today I'm going to take a trip to Gyro's just to see and talk to those people and relate to their life and see how their disabilities affected their lives and why they are in Gyro's and not with their families. You understand? People just, they don't care, honestly. That's how I feel. So we need to speak more. Tsepang was right. There is no place where you go where it's disabled people friendly. In some places, they are, in other countries, they are developing now. They have toilets for them. You see them nicely marked for them. Ramps in banks, disabled people, elderly people this side and stuff. We still haven't integrated those people into our communities. And the fact that we still have homes for those people, it's like we're saying, they must all move out of our way and go into a home. So it's really sad. We need to improve on that, but I think we need to get the information out there more and more until they, the disabled people, they feel free to say, I'm going to town. There's a bathroom for me there, there's a restaurant that caters for me, there's a bus that caters for me, there's a taxi that caters for me. So I can freely move in town without struggling.
Yeah. Someone was asking about the issue of the transport as well in Bulawayo, to say even the Zuko buses are not disability friendly. The issue of Zuko transport not disability friendly. Even our trains they're not disability friendly. Then, maybe, do you want to comment on that?
They're not. They are not. So that's what I'm saying. It looks like everyone's saying they must stay at home because if you want to go to the train, how are you going to put you in the train? Or now it simply means that we go back to the issue of caregivers. Anyone who's taking care of someone who's disabled, their life has to stop in a way. Because if he needs to get somewhere, I need to go with them. If he needs to get into town, I need to go with them. Some people can wheel their own wheelchair into town. But the fact that the pavements are this high, there is no escalators, there are no, lifts, you have to use the escalator. What now? So they have to either have someone help them or get into town only when it's a serious emergency. So they're being cast out of the society. They're not enjoying the same benefits of coming to town, coming to events like trade fair and stuff because nothing says you are welcome. That's the same response that I got from parents with disabled kids. They stay at home. They have helpers who stay with them at home. They only leave to go to school because it's a legal requirement. But what after that? No social life, no interacting with other kids beyond school. It's very sad.
But what are the community leaders saying in terms of helping you, social welfare, with the councillors, the local MPs? What are they saying in terms of helping what you're doing there? Also, what are they saying to these parents who are struggling in terms of raising PWDs?
I think they don't get that much help from the community. I tried to speak to the parents. Like I said, it's an initiative that I personally started, but I haven't kicked down enough doors to say, I'm going to the ministry, I'm going to this, I'm going to that. I just decided those kids that were left in my care, I'll carry it on. So I think it's time now that I elevate it and go to these councils for the disabled and try to help these kids, practical help from the community. Like I said, if we try to say, I'm not going to help because the Disability Association is not helping, then it's not helping. It starts with the community. It starts with the neighbors. So if the neighbors can help, it starts there. It's your child as a community, and then the other community helps. Eventually, the whole group of people will be helped. And then that's when we can approach the councils for the disabled and say, look what we are doing in the community. Can't you chip in on this and that? We're already doing this. But if you keep the kids at home, we hide them. Parents with kids that are disabled, they kind of hide them. It feels like a disgrace or something that shouldn't be seen out of the community. And if you look at first world countries, disabled kids are the most special kids in the community. You see videos and stuff, everyone is happy to see them, everyone is willing to help them. They take them out, they make them live normal lives. Our disabled kids and disadvantaged kids, they are kept at home because when our parents, the parents cannot afford to move around with them. They cannot afford stuff for them, clothing, decent wheelchair to wheel them into town and stuff like that. So we need to have events where we encourage the parents first to say, bring these kids out. They're probably not getting help because you're hiding them at home. Make it a habit to take them out. Make it a habit to be seen with your children. That's where the help comes from the community. As much as they say leave the cameras at home, but the community are the eyes. There are cameras. Then if someone in Lopengula sees a disabled mother with a disabled child, you post it on socials. That's how we're living now. That's how information is disseminated these days. When you post it on socials, we are willing to help. Or I have a pair of shoes, I've got jeans, I've got this. We contribute it together, we take it to her. They did not post for glory or to be seen and stuff, but it's for getting the help from the community. That's where the help comes from.
So to wrap up the show this morning, right? Someone is watching the show, a corporate, someone wants to sponsor you, someone wants to donate to you, someone wants to help people with disability in terms of sign language and so on. How can they get in touch with you? Plus, also, what's the agent need for your work that we're doing there?
All right. What I would say, if they want to get in touch with me, my number is 077 913 9945.
Repeat it, please.
It's 077 913 9945. My Facebook name is Sibonokuhle Moyo. I hope you take it on your... Okay, so what I'd say to people a lot is people have been asking for help, claiming to be asking for help for the disabled, for this, for that. And people have been using disabled kids as a scapegoat for doing whatever they want to do. I personally encourage people to donate their time and skills. If there is a school for the sign language, they'll get in touch. I bring the mother to the school to learn. Money and goods and everything is all welcome, but it's not my main priority because a lot of times when you say to people, donate money for me, I want to buy them school shoes, they feel like people are using disabled children or people or disadvantaged children to their advantage. They want to benefit something. So usually I put out that I want school shoes, may you help me with school shoes or uniforms or help me with this skill. Someone wants to learn mechanics, someone wants to do electricals, someone wants to do plumbing. Who has got the skills? Who can take in my child and teach them until such a time that even when they go to Westgate to get a official certificate, they already have the know-how of what they are doing, the practical skill. Do you understand? So the urgent need is the donation of skills, hand skills, skills that they can live with beyond the time the parent is there. So those are the urgent needs. And I also had time to speak to the parents and ask them, what do you think exactly is the urgent need that we can help these kids? They were like, if someone could come forward and empower us as caregivers with capital, with business capital, then we'll be able to take care of these children. So they need capital, they need cushioning, they need information, they need education on how to be self-sufficient economically. That's one of the urgent needs. And obviously the donation of hand skills. And then the other important issue, but that's a long shot and it's something that we'll look at in the long run, is accommodation for disabled children. It's a given that 50% or 60% of them won't ever get into the workforce. And most parents, they are renting places. What is going to happen to those children when the parents are gone? So people that are responsible for housing and accommodation, they may consider to say, if you have a disabled child, we might put you under the housing scheme. Make sure this child has a house and put the terms on how the house should be kept so that even when the parent is gone, a disabled child or a disadvantaged child have accommodation or shelter. Because once the caregiver is gone, who's mostly the parent or the granny, who can properly take care of, the child might be cast between relatives. Go there, go stay with auntie so and so, and the care won't be the same. So at least if they have their own accommodation or a place where they are guaranteed to stay even way after the parent is gone or the caregiver is gone, then it's easier for someone to offer to say, I'll take care of them as long as they have a place to stay.
You're parting words to parents with children with disabilities, or parting words to society to change our narrative, change our notions. What can you say to them this morning?
All right, to the parents, first of all, those kids are special. They're special in so many ways, and my words to you is let the kids come out. Let the kids be seen. Let the kids socialize. Let the kids have a normal life. Whatever it takes, if it means that we organize social events just for them to come out and see other kids and relate and see the hope that is in the world. Because if a child is only staying in Ncube and only knows Ncube since young, he feels that's the normal life. Let the kids come out. Don't be afraid to ask for help and also empower yourselves. There's no one who's going to employ you these days. It's so hard to get employed. Try to empower yourselves. Or wherever you ask for help, ask to be empowered. That's one thing. Once you're empowered, you've empowered your child. And it's a lifetime. No one will take that away from you. But if you ask for bread and butter, tomorrow is gone. You need another bread and butter. To the community, let's embrace people with disabilities. Let's take care of them wherever we are in our small setups. If we join those small setups together, it becomes a national thing that Zimbabweans are very caring towards people with disability. Let's give them the leeway. When amabauza efika amanzi, allow them to fetch water first. Fetch the water and take to their house. Tell them, stay at home, I'll bring you buckets for you in the house. Do a small act of kindness. I posted yesterday that today's kindness helps someone, be it crossing the street, be it carrying their bags, be it cleaning their lawn and throwing the trash. Just small changes. When we join those together, they become a very, very big thing. So the community should embrace people with disabilities, love them, treat them the same, love them even more than you love people that are able-bodied. They need that love to see the hope in the future and to see that, okay, there are people around us who don't see what we are, but they see who God created.
Sibonokuhle, keep on shining, keep on doing the Lord's work, keep on helping communities, and keep on touching people's hearts. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for inviting me.
There you have it. You've been watching the Civic Forum. My name is Brighton Ncube. This is Asake Online. My guest for this morning was Sibonokuhle Moyo. They speak about different things. Sibonokuhle Helping Hands, helping communities, and helping PWDs in terms of wheelchairs, in terms of school backpacks, in terms of food. If you're out there willing to help, please do a DM here on your Facebook page. That's Sibonokuhle
Harris Moyo.
Okay, I hope I got that. I hope people got that. Valela Harris Moyo.
Yes.
Right, cool. So do DM site. If you can't get those, do DM site. We're going to get in touch with you and also give you the numbers there from Sibonokuhle. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the show this morning. Have a blessed day. It's myself, Brighton Ncube. Bye for now.